Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists physicians with employment contract issues. Today I'm going to talk about how long does tail insurance last. So when I am reviewing a contract with a physician, the malpractice policy and then potential payment of tail insurance, if necessary, is always a big discussion point. So let's kind of briefly go through in what scenario would a physician be responsible for tail insurance, the cost of it, and then how long it lasts as well. So there's two main types of malpractice insurance. You have occurrence-based and claims-made. And so in a claims-made policy has to be in effect when the claim is actually made. So it's possible that a physician could leave an employer and then 2 years later be sued. And so since they are no longer employed and that policy is ended, they need a gap policy that kind of covers the last day that they saw a patient with the employer and then the last date that they can be sued. And so in most states, the statute of limitation is 2 years, although there are some exceptions that we'll get into as well. So if it's a claims-made policy, someone has to pay for tail insurance. In an occurrence-based policy, no tail coverage is necessary. It just means a policy has to be in effect when the malpractice event actually occurred. So the main difference between claims made and occurrence is that occurrence is usually about a third more expensive. So, physician or the employer has to make a decision whether they want to pay a third more per year for malpractice or pay a little bit less, but then have a big chunk on the end for tail insurance. So let's say a scenario where the physician is responsible for paying tail. So the contract ends with the employer. The physician's responsible to purchase the tail policy. A good rule of thumb is it's usually around twice what the annual premium is for the physician. So the annual premium is just how much money has to be paid each year to insure the physician for malpractice. Just multiply that times 2, and that's usually a pretty good ballpark of what the physician is going to have to pay for tail. Now, a couple considerations as far as how much it costs. One is the length of the policy. So once again, most states have a 2-year statute of limitations. However, it's 2 years from when the patient either knows or should have known of the injury. And then there are also some exceptions for minor patients to be able to sue once they reach the age of majority. So in that situation, sometimes a longer tail policy makes sense. So a tail can be 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. There's also unlimited tail policies, meaning it just goes on forever. And if any claim arises in the future, no matter when it's filed, the physician is covered. Now, why would a physician pay less or more? Pretty simple, it's cost. So like a normal tail, let's just say that covers 5 years, would probably be around twice the annual premium. An unlimited policy may cost more than that. So if the physician is responsible, they need to think about, all right, what's my liability here? What's the potential for me being sued? Certainly what specialty they're in, I think, is important as well. And then they can make a financial decision. Now, there's 2 ways of getting out of paying for tail. One, if you stay with the same insurance company, so let's just say we have a cardiologist who's working for a private physician-owned practice, and then they use whoever the insurance company is, they move a job. That new job uses the same insurance company. Usually they'll just roll over the old tail into the new policy. The physician won't have to pay for tail. Now, obviously, when you start a job, there's just absolutely no way of knowing who if you leave the job and who the new employer will be if they use the same insurance policy. So that certainly shouldn't be relied upon. The other way of doing it is your new employer paying for your old tail, and that's called nose coverage. This doesn't happen very often. It can, certainly, but most employers do not pay for nose coverage. And if they do, it's almost always a hospital network. It's exceedingly rare for a smaller physician-owned practice to pay nose coverage for any of the physicians they're bringing in. It just won't happen. So what makes sense as far as how long it should last? Well, I mean, obviously, the longer the tail, the safer it is for the physician. So getting an unlimited tail makes sense. Now, as I said before, cost is a factor. All right, let's just give a scenario where the physician is sued, and then either the tail is expired and it's a good claim, meaning they didn't miss the statute of limitations. It hasn't run yet. Well, the physician could be personally liable, not only for whatever the judgment is, but for attorney's fees and things like that. It could cripple someone financially if they don't have a malpractice policy in place if they are sued. So it's not worth, at least I don't think it's worth rolling the dice. It is absolutely smart to get a tail policy, and the longer the tail, the safer it is for the physician. So anyway, that's kind of how long a tail policy lasts. If you have any questions, you can always call us at the phone number listed below in the description, or you can reach us through our website, chellelaw.com. That's CHELLE law.com. Again, my name is Robert Chelle, and I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you.